Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your viewing environment. We are here with you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, scheduling permitted, to discuss whatever topics you might like to discuss, whatever issues of life you find challenging or that you find difficult to navigate. You can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships. Whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind, God is concerned about that which concerns you. And so we are here in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, which is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the cap. Fiji water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is Earth's finest water. And for those of you who continue giving on the Give segment of our app at New Life Delaware, and those of you that have made a weekly or monthly commitment to support the broadcast by giving on the contribution page at our website, newlifeministriesinternational.com, we thank you for your support and your commitment. We don't take that for granted, as we are here to fulfill our commitment to God, to be here to address whatever topics are important to you that you might like to discuss, and whatever issues of life you find challenging or that you find difficult to navigate. So I'm going to begin today's broadcast by reminding everyone, continue to encourage your family, your friends, your coworkers, and your colleagues to tune in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. And as you know, I have announced, and I will continue to announce, we will be expanding our platform onto freeradionetwork.com. So I'm going to give you that information as we continue to upload. Be patient with us, as yesterday, as I announced, we had a little difficulty getting up, but we were actually able to go live 1 minute before the broadcast began. So I want to say to all of you, we want to expand our platform so that you have the opportunity to view the Daily Divine Direction broadcast and the Sunday sermon at New Life Christian Center on various platforms, whatever platform is most comfortable for you. And I'll be making some additional announcements as we continue to move forward with that. And I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you want to be around more successful people. And you want to know, how do you accomplish this goal? So, that's a very interesting thought process that you have developed, that you recognize that you want to soar higher in life. You want to, be around more successful people, because like-minded people, iron sharpens iron. You truly believe that it will help you to enhance your skills and to become more successful. So let me begin by saying this. You really are going to have to learn to position yourself. So one of the things I tell young people often, and I'm talking about people who have graduated from college and have now begun on their journey, their career journey. One of the things I'm constantly telling them is you can't just spend all your time around your peers. And it's the same thing in life. If you're spending all of your time with people who are your peers, people who are just like you, you're never going to have the opportunity to soar higher. You may all soar together at a certain level, but you want to get above the clouds. You want to soar higher. So you really have to position yourself to do that, and to be around people who are at another level of success. Things that you would like to accomplish, they're already doing it. Those are the people that you want to be around, because you understand they will help you to accomplish your goals. They'll make you better because they'll force you to elevate your gifts and talents your skill set. So you've got to position yourself. And the way that you position yourself is by placing yourself in a different environment. So for all of us, it's real easy to be comfortable being around people that we know. It's comfortable because it doesn't require us, doesn't require any more of us. They know us, they know what to expect from us. They're not going to push us to be a better version of ourselves. They're only going to encourage us to continue the way we are right now. Not a bad thing, but it's not enough. We have to change our environment. We have to be willing to be around people who are not better than us, but that are doing things at a higher level. It will then inspire us to perform at a higher level. You've got to identify and select people who are doing what you're doing at a much greater level, or what you're not doing at a much greater level, that you could explore that opportunity or explore the potential that is within you to be a better version of ourselves. And so that requires us to change our environment. So one of the things I tell young people, don't just hang out in the same places you've always hung out. You're going to meet the same people. Place yourself in a different environment. Take up something different that is going to allow you to be around a different group of people. Different people who are accomplishing different things. They're accomplishing even greater things. They're at another level of success. And we can't be afraid of that. We can't be afraid to be around people who are at a greater level of success. We don't want to be the one-eyed king or queen in the land of the blind. We want to position ourselves in an environment that's going to challenge us to go to the next level. And it doesn't matter how long it takes for you to get to the next level. It's just a matter of climbing to higher heights. You know, it's important for us to recognize that the environment we're in right now is for our present. It's not for our future. And so, first of all, we have to position ourselves. Second of all, we have to make certain that we place ourselves in a different environment. So I was having a conversation with one of the directors who we talked about the college tours coming up for our Achievers Academy. And one of the things that we discussed is that, you know, although we have a partnership with the Harvard Financial Aid Initiative, and we have a partnership with a couple of universities, and we talked about taking the students to the University of Pennsylvania in the coming year. And the reason is because it's close to us, but in addition to that, we have relationships there now. And in addition to that, we're going to try to schedule to take them to the Barnes Foundation while we're in Philadelphia, because we won't have the same travel time that we would normally have going to Harvard. We're still going to go to Harvard because that's our partnership, but we want to take them to the University of Pennsylvania because it's close. We want to then take them over to the Barnes Foundation so that they can view fine art, so that they can get a feeling for a different environment. So for you, I would recommend also that as you are looking for this new experience, to be around more successful people, not because you want anything from them, but what you want is growth. So I'm going to encourage you, start getting involved in some charitable events. Start identifying charities that you can support, that you can participate or volunteer in a charitable event. You're going to meet different people when you are at a charitable event, because people who are charity-minded are people who are successful. They are pursuing the next level and constantly believing God that there's more to the fullness of God in their lives. So it's about position, it's about environment, and it's about charity or philanthropic events. Become involved, volunteer, donate, do whatever you can do to place yourself in an environment where there's going to be people that are not familiar with, people who are going to challenge you just by their presence, by understanding what they do, by, really getting familiar with causes that they're involved in, so that it will inspire you to go to the next level in God, so that you can fulfill the fullness of God in your life and experience the fullness of God, that you can really get to the next level in God. That's going to be real important for you. And it can be simple things. Where you go out to eat. You just being in a different environment will inspire us to be greater, to be a better version of ourselves, to become the best version of ourselves that we can possibly achieve. That really needs to be our everyday goal, to be the best version of ourselves that we can possibly become. No one's going to be a better you. However, there are people who will inspire you to become a better you. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to invite you to their estate. It means that being in their presence, understanding what they do, understanding how they've accomplished that level will help you to develop a mindset of success that will allow you to go to the next level in God. Because what all of us should be seeking to do every single day is to go to the next level in God and experience the fullness of God in all of our lives. And then we learn to maximize that fullness. That every day is a new day filled with new mercies, new opportunities, new potential to be the greatness that God has purposed for each and every one of us. And I'm not talking about your name blinking in lights. I'm just talking about being the best version of ourselves that we can become in this kingdom, right here in earth, so that we don't have to wait until we get to heaven to experience a bit of heaven right here on earth. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G provider at no extra charge. So if you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, nor have you been for the previous 90 days, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will place you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest and fastest 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees will be included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill. At T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that your father is dating a much younger woman and you are not certain this is going to be a good experience for him. You want to know, how do you explain to him your concerns without causing an issue between the two of you, or between the three of you? You got to remember, there's three people involved in this. So let me begin by saying this. So there's an old adage that says age is nothing but a number, but I can tell you that the life experiences are going to be so much different. And the truth of the matter is, your father being your father and you being the daughter, you're concerned about your father getting hurt. You're concerned about it disrupting his financial stability. You're concerned about your father not recovering from a broken relationship as quickly as he might need to without disrupting the quality of his life. All of that is real. However, your conversation with him should really be about the fact that he's going to make his own decisions. But explain to him that their life experiences are going to be much different, and you understand, which I'm not going to go too far in this because I'm going to talk about this on a coming broadcast. It's going to take me into another communication, but you understand the millennial mindset. And you realize that at some point in time, your father's not going to be able to tolerate that type of mindset. So you're looking in the future already in advance of what will occur. And right now he's only looking at the fact that someone younger has taken an interest in him and he's taken an interest in them. That might be good for the short term. It's not going to last. So you can put me on the spot by encouraging your father to look at the the archive video, because the truth of the matter is that as I was prayerful about this, God showed me in the secret place of your father's life. Your father right now is very stable. He is set in his ways because he's more mature. He's older. He's matured. He's lived life. The young lady is just someone that has taken an interest in him for financial security. And that's okay that that's what she's looking for, but you're right to be concerned about your father. And so your approach may need to be different than just telling him, listen, she's only after your money, for lack of a better term. Your approach to him should just be to explain to him that at some point in time, and he's going to make his own decision. Again, I'll reiterate that. He's going to make his own decision. How long that's going to last. It would be more productive if he would move on now. If he would just say, listen, it's been nice having a conversation with you. However, I don't feel that this is going to be a conducive relationship to pursue. That you can give him those talking points. But the reality is that because she has a different mindset than he has, and because he is living his life with a great quality of life that does not need to be disrupted, that should be the conversation that you have with him as opposed to anything else. And just explain to him the differences of the way he's going to live and the way she's going to want to live. Now, I'm not a hater, so anyone can do what they choose to do. But again, if you play back some of the archives, you'll remember how I have been very clear about dating with purpose. They're not going to get married. She's not who God has appointed for her life. Pardon me. She's not who God has appointed for his life. And in the end, he's not going to be what she's going to need for her life. Because at some point in time, he's going to decide that it's not worth living that experience any longer. They have two different ways of living life. They have two entirely different personalities. But, sometimes opposites attract. They don't always stay together. Someone else might say, go have fun. Fun can be overrated. Let's focus on the quality of life. Let's focus on, for those who are single, dating with a purpose. And the purpose is to build a quality of life that God has purposed for each and every one of us. So dating should be for purpose, not for entertainment, not for social activity, not just for sport. It should be for purpose. Am I finding the person who is going to be, watch this, the right fit for me? I don't want to have to shave off any corners to fit a square peg into a round hole. I don't want to have to, polish up a lump of coal to turn it into something else. Let's live the best quality of life that we can possibly live by making the right decisions. I encourage your father to take her to church or invite her to church. And she's probably not going, well, not probably, God allowed me to see in that secret place of your lives. She's not into church. She's into hanging out. She's into, I want someone who's financially secure, and every now and then I'll spend some time with them. That's not going to be good for him, and you're right. So just have the right conversation with them. Sometimes, we have the wrong conversations with people. We have a conversation, particularly when it's children and parents, we have a conversation based on emotion opposed to based on having the right conversation, which is going to provide enough information. You're a millennial, so you understand the millennial mindset. Share with him not your concerns about what could happen, because he's going to look at it, I'm the father, you're the daughter, and I get to make my own decisions. That's not the right conversation to have with him. You need to talk about the quality of life. You need to discuss with him the millennial mindset. They're not going to be a long-term relationship, and he certainly is not going to want to waste that time after you have a conversation with him, because it's not in his best interest to waste that kind of time. In fact, it's not in any of our best interest to waste time at all. We need to do a better job managing the time that God has appointed for each and every one of us, because each and every one of us has a number that is going to be called at some point in time. We want the best quality of life while we're here. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, check for their store hours. Stop in at the retail stores. They have everything a man could possibly need. Shirts for men, ties for men, suits for men, and accessories. If you're not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. They will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. And The White Company, located in London, the UK. They also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York and a store at the Short Hills Mall in Short Hills, New Jersey. If you're in either of those areas, check for their store hours also. Stop in at the retail stores. They have everything you could possibly need. Home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. And if you're not in either of those areas, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. They too will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that your significant other just bought an extremely expensive car. However, you wanted some assistance during the pandemic and he refused. And you want to know, should you stay in the relationship? So let me begin by saying this. You have to understand that the two of you have two separate households. Your significant other understands that you didn't ask for assistance because you were having trouble financially. You asked for assistance because you wanted to shop. He understands your shopping habits. He understands your lifestyle habits, and he chose not to support that habit. You've got to understand that just because he didn't offer you assistance for that purpose, that's not an indicator that he doesn't care about you. Now, I get it. He bought an expensive car, and that had some impact on your thought process. If you have some concerns about what he's really thinking or his thought process, sit down and have a conversation. Just because he didn't give you money to shop during the pandemic doesn't imply that he doesn't care about you. What you need to do is go through the periods of time when you really needed something and he offered to help. That's what you really have to examine. You have to examine when you didn't need something and he still did something for you because he cared enough to want to do something for you. But just because you wanted new handbags, and you didn't say this in your communication, but God allowed me to see it in that secret place of your life, and new shoes and those things, doesn't mean that you needed assistance. It just means that you wanted to go shopping, and he refused. He refused to give you money to go shopping. Okay. But in his mind, it was time for him to get a new automobile. And he chose an automobile that was expensive. You said extremely expensive. Okay, everything's relative, but it was expensive. But the reality is that he doesn't owe you shopping trips or online shopping. That's not his responsibility. You're in a relationship. If you want to get out, you can find a reason to get out always. But if you're allowing your emotions to determine whether or not you remain in the relationship because you don't like the fact that he bought a car during the pandemic but didn't help you go shopping during the pandemic, there's more issues with your relationship than just should you stay in it over this. And you really have to say to yourself, is all of this really important? If you've got someone who treats you well and you've been in a relationship for a period of time, this isn't new. You know his personality. You knew when you asked. But I'm going to tell you what God showed me in that secret place of your life. You wanted him to provide you with shopping trips online, purchasing power, when he told you that he was going to start looking for a new vehicle. So then it became, well, if he can buy a new car, and because he told you the type of cars he was looking at, it became, well, if he can afford to buy that, which you knew he could in the first place. But in your mind, if he can do that now, then I can go shopping now. Well, it's not the same thing. And this is, I often tell people, you can't compare an orange to a basketball just because they're both orange and brown. He knew what he needed to do, and he knew what he wanted to do. You knew what you wanted to do. You didn't need, but you wanted. And then I'll go a little further than that. God allowed me to see in that secret place, you also wanted him to send you on a trip with your girlfriends during a pandemic. He wasn't going to do that. He's not irresponsible, and he didn't agree with you going on the trip during a pandemic, because at some point you were going to return, and then you're placing him in the possibility of exposure to whatever you encountered while you were on the trip with the girls. Some things we just have to decide are really not that important. We really have to decide, listen, if we can get along and walk this life together, perhaps, and in your case, perhaps you can get to the place where the two of you aren't just a couple, but that you could become husband and wife, if that's what God appointed for your lives. So we really just have to think about how we can build a better quality of life. And in doing that, we have to make the decision, are we compatible with the person that we become involved with? How can two walk together unless they agree? You have to agree on the vision you have for your lives, and you have to agree on the way you're going to live out the quality of life. Today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast 3D has been brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery